Hello everyone. Welcome on in. I'm Velvet. Hi, and thanks for coming along to this speed build. So today we are building a horse park. So this is basically a park, and that's the type of venue it is, but it's for horses. And I'm building this on in Chestnut Ridge, and I believe it's on the Duke's Hall lot in Chestnut Ridge. So it's the one that's kind of beside the equestrian training center there. So yeah, I built this a little while ago, but I built it for the Populate Planet Sims collaboration. So that's where we're kind of collaborating with a whole lot of different simmers for Cass as well as building, and we're recreating the worlds in the Sims. And we were working on Chestnut Ridge. So this is, I think, my second build for Chestnut Ridge that I did. And yeah, just like a cute little horse park. And I just wanted to make, wanted it to look like it really belonged in the world. So, I did go heavy on using the horse ranch pack for this build, but I did use like quite an assortment of different packs for it in the end. And the whole idea behind this was that it was basically something that was going to be horse friendly and people friendly, but the park side of it was definitely going to be more for the horses than it was going to be for the humans. But there is enough things to do in the actual build, on the inside and a little bit on the outside as well for the humans. Like, they can sit out on the porches, and I think there's like a little bit of play equipment and possibly a barbecue, and there's like a kitchen, and there's actually ended up being like a little sleeping area as well. So, if the Sims, come here and they do like a little bit of horse training and bits and pieces like that, then they can have, they might get a little bit tired, so they can have a nap, or there's going to be a bathroom there so they can clean up. And yeah, added in like a couple of stables so the horses can go inside and, have a little bit to eat and have something to drink and have a little rest in the stables if they do get a little bit tired of doing their horse training or doing their equestrian stuff. Because, as I said, it is kind of quite right next to the equestrian center, so you can kind of bring your household here. Like if you had a household with like sim and like 4 horses or something like that, so you could bring the household here, and then you can see the equestrian center in the green right behind this build. So you can probably trot off from this lot over to the equestrian center, and then you can come back here and rest in between and do like the extra training and bits and pieces in between, and then go back to the equestrian center if you wanted to do that. Honestly, you could practically live out of this park. I mean, it has a bed, it has food, it has a bathroom. So yeah, you know what? You could probably actually do that if you were really into doing like the championship rider aspiration that came with Horse Ranch. I think that, you could actually go in there and you could probably live from this lot, from this horse park lot, and actually just be down in town all of the time and going into the equestrian center and doing all your championship training and championship riding and doing all of those things for that. In hindsight, that's actually quite handy. That wasn't actually my intention when I built it. I just wanted something that was going to be user friendly and horse friendly. From the Sims perspective as well as from the horse perspective. And you can see all of the horses out there, because I was playtesting to see whether or not the horses could actually get inside the building, because that's the thing. Obviously we want them to be able to get inside the building to get to the stable portion of the build. So I was playtesting that. And so you'll see lots of horses and stuff sort of standing around as I playtest the odd thing. Anyway, so yeah. This is a useful little lot. I think sitting beside the equestrian center, you could live there and do all your horse training if you wanted to, even though it is a park. It's quite useful, isn't it? I mean, because, it can be a little bit irritating because you have the loading screens in between and, that sort of thing. When you are traveling between lots, and it takes a little minute to get from one lot to another lot to another lot. And, it's quite handy to be able to just go to one place and do the things that you want to do, and then go to the next place and do the things that you want to do. I think that's half the time why I don't leave my home a lot when I am playing in The Sims, because it's just like, I have to travel. That's an effort. I have to go like between loading screens of all the problems in the world, right? 99 problems and my main problem is having to travel and having like a 30-second loading screen or whatever. It's like, effort. But anyway, with this no effort park, you can live here and train your horse and go to the equestrian centre all the time because it's right next door. There you go, selling it. I did something interesting with the stable area. I actually opened that up. So, you kind of have the walls round the side, and it's all sort of enclosed because you've got the second level. But then you've kind of got these open sections for the stables, so you've got the air going in there, and you can the horses can look out, and they can get some fresh air in there, so you're not getting too much of the stinkies from the horses perhaps, and also fresh air coming in. Probably not going to be the warmest in winter, but it is sheltered, so you're not going to get the rain on you, which is quite nice. I think that's a good thing. So I did use some of the more rustic wallpapers with this build on the exterior. So the horse ranch stone, I love that stone. It's my very favorite stone in the game. I absolutely adore that stone. So that was a big portion of the building. And then I used quite a rustic, sure that's horse ranch, rustic like log kind of effect wallpaper. As the contrast wallpaper. I was matching it to another build in the world as well in terms of the wallpapers that I chose. So I did want to make it consistent with some of the other builds that were in the build or in the collaboration as well. So that was a consideration for my choices. So this is the kitchen that I did, and this is why I say you could actually live here, because there is like a full kitchen, and I did add in like a little bedroom as well. I think possibly with bunk beds. So, you really could genuinely live from this lot. So if you're doing a rags to riches challenge, just put this in your world, and you could take your horse and you could go and just live on this lot and earn your money and do all your things, and then, go and buy your lot and get on with building a house and that sort of thing after you've earned a bit of money from your championship riding and stuff. So I did add like lots of tables to the outside. So there's seating. I think there's chess tables out there as well. So quite a few chess tables. They can do a little bit of skill building on this lot too for the Sims, and a little bit of skill building for the horses as well, because I add in like the barrels and the jumps, so they can run around and do that. And plus obviously a little bit of playtime with the ballies. I love the animation that the horses have with the balls and how they're rolling on the balls. I think that's so sweet. It's one of my favorite animations. And also the baby horses, the animations with the baby horses are so sweet with Horse Ranch. I thought they were absolutely adorable. I built so many ranches and spent so much time in Chestnut Ridge when this pack first came out. I haven't really gone back so much since, to be fair, but every now and then I sort of go back and I'll do an odd, like, little ranch build. I love ranch builds, and I don't know that I knew that before the pack came out, but you sort of build in the style of the world, and then you've suddenly got a brand new style of building under your belt that you really enjoy. I think the part of that is that it's basically like a rustic suburban in a way when you're building a ranch house, because it's still got that sort of familiar shape, but you're kind of making it a little bit more country, a little bit more rustic, and there's fun in that. I really enjoy that. So I did quite a bit of work on the landscaping, as far as like adding little grasses and stuff around, and trees and bushes, and just to make it feel a little bit, I don't know, parkish. I guess was the reason. And just add a bit of realism, I think, to it. And that, like the little sections are maybe a little bit overgrown. They don't always get, they get the council maintenance of like once every 3 months or something, Oh boy, there's some sort of noisy siren going past there. But I did manage to fit a couple of jumps in there. So, you can actually go in there and do your horse training as you like. So a couple of jumps, and I think the barrels, how the horses sort of wind around the barrels. I'm pretty sure I got one of those in there as well. I hope I did. And I know I definitely got the balls. Yeah, there's the barrels going in. So I got a couple of barrels and a couple of balls as well. So I I feel like, you know, you could have multiple horses on this lot doing different things at the same time. So, you know, you're getting your training in with like a whole lot of different horses. If you're doing a big, I don't know, a thing in your household where you maybe have multiple horses, maybe you've got 1 sim or 2 sims and 6 horses, then you could actually come here and manage that quite well. There are only 2 stables, but, you know, I feel like the horses would be resting at different times as well, so that could work out just fine. And just adding in the terrain paint to add that, you know, that sense of realism, and also some paving, some paths around the place. Yeah, there we go. Getting it together. But I feel like, you know, this is a really cool, it's like slightly different venue. I feel like it is quite specific, I guess, in a way to Chestnut Ridge. Like, you probably wouldn't see a lot like this in some of the other worlds, but it does depend on what your setup is in your game. I mean, you might have horsey stuff in different places. Like, you know, it could work in Hemford on Bagley. You know, you could have like a horsey stable there, or a horsey park there. That could work, because I feel like Hemford on Bagley, you could probably have quite a few horses as well. Like, that's one of those worlds where I feel like it would be quite horse friendly. So a park like that could work in there as well. But yeah, it would mainly probably be used, I think, in Chestnut Ridge. Depends. I don't know. It always depends on what your setup is. But this is sort of bringing in some of the different little bits of areas that I created around the build, just to finish off the park. You know, make it look, you know, cohesive and finished and like a full thing that you could use. So just doing the last of the building on the balconies or the porches, depending on what you want to call them. I don't know what you want to call them. I generally call them both, depending on what springs to mind, I think. Balcony or porch. Porch, I kind of feel, is like the bottom level, and then balcony is kind of like the level that is over the top, like, you know, the higher levels. I don't know why I think that in my brain, though. It's one of those curious things, like, you know how you just have this thing in your brain and you don't necessarily know that it's right, but it's just kind of stuck in your brain as a fact. And it's just like, is this right? Is this wrong? I don't know the answer to that, but it's a fact in my brain, and it's how my brain processes the decks or the porches or the balconies. I quite often use decks as well. Decks is multi-purpose, I think, but I generally think balcony is the top levels, and then porch or deck is like your bottom level kind of thing. But I don't know why I think that. So I'm just adding in a little bit of decoration to the interior, doing like hay on the floor, just to add like a little bit of authenticism to the feel of the build, like tools around the place. So this is kind of like, you know, a lot of the decoration, less of the practical stuff. You know, you got all the practical kind of stuff down, and then you bring the decoration and make it, you know, make it look pretty. But I think this is a nice little stable and nice little training area for the horsies. You know, they're going to have fun there. They've got everything that they need, and so do the Sims. So I think it works out quite nicely. Just adding a little bit more of the landscaping, just bringing in the realism, making it feel like a little bit more run down and that sort of thing. But in the interior, what have I got left to do? So I think we've got the upstairs, the last of the upstairs to do. Oh yeah, just adding a little bit more skill building around the place too, because, you know, it's useful to be able to do multiple things on a park lot, right? On a community lot like this. So upstairs, I think we have, oh, just adding in the lighting, but we've got, I don't think we've done the bedroom upstairs, and we need to do the bathroom upstairs, as well as, like, I do like a little sitting room, like living room kind of hangout spot area. So you can sort of see where I've got the couch and the TV. And we've got the kitchen off to the side, so we've got a kitchen space up there. This is oh yeah, we've got the piano there. I forgot I had the piano there. I mean, again, more skill building. So we can do what we can do. We can do logic. We can do cooking and comedy with the TV. We can do piano. We can do cooking again with the kitchen. There was something else. Oh, there was the easel, so you can do painting there as well. And obviously we can do horse riding. So we've got the horse riding skills. So there's, you know, there's quite a lot of skill building that you could do here, which is quite handy. And we got a dollhouse for the kids, because I've got to keep the kids entertained as well. And I put a toy chest in there as well. So again, like, you know, entertainment for the kids, so they can come and play and do what they're going to do, while maybe the adults are out there and they're doing like their horse training and they're doing their bits and pieces around the place. So yeah, I love that. Oh, console as well, so you can do a little bit of gaming. So yeah, Lots of different things that you can do on this lot. I did really think about some of the skill building, so yay, good on me. I do love a lot like this, which has like lots of multiple purposes, and you could come here and you could do so many different things with it. And I feel like, you know, you really could just live here. I've said that a few times now, but you really could. And there's books, so you could do any sort of skill building from the books as well. If you wanted to buy a skill building book, you could do that too. So yep, come along to Duke's Hall. Actually, that's the name of the, if you are looking for this build on the gallery, it is called Duke's Hall. It's not called Horse Park or anything on the gallery. So my gallery ID is VelvettB with 2 T's, and yeah, this is under Duke's Hall, DUKE apostrophe S, I think, and Hall, HALL. And this is the bathroom. So again, just really digging into the horse ranch pack with this bathroom, just trying to make it, you know, like really cute, wooden, rustic, all of those things. And it's actually quite a nice spacious bathroom as well. So there's a lot of space to have, you know, room to get changed and do what you want to do in the bathroom. I don't know what you want to do in the bathroom, but there's room to get changed in here, so that's nice. It's not like a little teeny tiny squishy bathroom. There's space in here for you to really, you know, spread out and have your stuff everywhere if you need to. So that is the bathroom coming together. I think we just have like a little rug in the middle. Yeah. And then we are moving on to the bedroom. I mean, you don't ordinarily have a bedroom in a park, and I know that's kind of unusual, but at the time, it just kind of like, you know, it just made sense to have like a little bunk bed so you can rest in between training sessions with your horses. Like, your horse has a stable and your horse can rest, but your sim can't rest. I mean, you can nap on a bench, but that's not very nice. So that's why I was kind of like, you know what, let's have a room, a little bunk bedroom and a little rest room. So, you know, you're in between training sessions and you need a break, then hey, you can have one. Isn't that great? Oh, and I put a PC in there as well. Oh, wasn't I kind? What a park. I would so go there and play in there. I've got to put that in with some of my saves so we can spend a day or two at the at the horse park. Even if I don't have horses, I want to go because there's so many things I can do on there. It'll be really great, honestly, for Rags to Riches playing. If you wanted to get like skills up and that sort of thing, then you could go there easily without having to buy the stuff yourself. It's quite good. Anyway, we are getting towards the end of the build. I'm just sort of adding in the last stuff, you know, just those little finishing touches that just kind of crop up at the end of the build. And, you know, I'm just adding in like a little bar area. So we're adding in some seating. So, you know, you can go in there's quite a lot to do on the upper area. And yeah, hang out. Anyway, I'll leave you to the tours. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.